Hello, European Confessions. I am back with another message. Let me share with you a message that I received earlier on. The message reads like this: How are you, my brother Nashi? I want to confess to you that I took another man's wife. What happened is that at that time, my wife had just run away from me. We had been divorced. So this woman was one of my employees and she was very young. This woman and her husband, they were both young. As for this woman, at that time, she was only 20 years old. So I started spoiling this woman by taking her to places where I knew that her husband could never afford to take her to those places. I started giving her more and more money on top of her salary. This was so easy for me because I was the one who was responsible in that company for writing people's overtime. And what I used to do is that for this woman, I used to write overtime for her even on weekends. I'll just write that she came to work, she did that, even though she didn't come to work over the weekends. So in the company that we were working at that time, we were doing garden services. So we were working from Sunday to Sunday. So each and every day for this woman, I would just tick that she had came to work, even though on weekends she won't be at work. So when this woman saw that the money that I was giving her plus her salary was more than the money that her husband was bringing in, she started to become so stubborn towards her husband. Her husband also started to get so suspicious. So, what this woman will do is that whenever she will have a fight with her husband, she will then come over to my house. Sometimes she will stay with me for 3 or more days. Then she will go back to her husband. After I saw that this was what she was doing, I went and I sought help from a traditional healer. What I wanted her men to have no power when they were in the bedroom. And that was what happened. Me and this woman, we loved each other so much. So many times we will travel to Joburg to order clothes. When we would come back, we would go around because in our area that we were staying at that time, there were a lot of farms. So we would go to those farms to sell those clothes that we had bought in Joburg. It was easy also for me because at that time I had a car. This woman was so deeply in love with me, so much that when her husband sometimes would call her to ask her where she was and she would be at my house, she would answer her husband saying, "What do you want from me? Why are you troubling me?" Whenever a family back home didn't have any food at all, I used to meet up with her sister. Then I would buy so much groceries for the family to such an extent that the whole family started calling me their son in law. Then there was one day when this woman was beaten by her husband because of me. After she had been beaten by her husband, I then encouraged her to go to the police station to report her husband. When that young man heard that his wife had made a police report against him, he then ran away. When I heard that he had ran away, I took that woman. Then I started staying with that woman. When we started staying together, that is when we realized that she was already pregnant and that baby that she was carrying, it was not my baby. We tried everything that we could to get rid of that pregnancy, but she couldn't have an abortion. So we just kept that pregnancy until the child was born. This child, I know that it is not mine, but my sisters somehow managed to name that child. They gave that child my father's name, yet I am not even related to this child. But none of my relatives know that. All of these years, we thought that maybe one day we will sit down with everyone and then we will tell everyone the truth. But the problems kept on coming. My wife is now having a lot of miscarriages. So far, if I were to count, she has had 3 miscarriages. So I don't know if the name that I gave this child is the cause of all of this. We have tried everything, especially to the gynecologist. We have went there. We have spent so much money, but my wife, she keeps on having miscarriages. I don't know if there is anyone who can help me. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from Anonymous. The most painful part in this story is that this young man, they did things to him so that he can react. When he reacted after he had beaten up his wife, then they went to the police and then they made a police report knowing that he will then run away so that they can stay together as husband and wife. But that is our brother's own confession. Please let us speak with him in the comment section. I'll be back with more messages.